Andrea Londo is an actress asking big, beautiful questions and living herself into an answer. She's also the founder of Two Lands Production. Two Lands. It perfectly embodies so much of the brown experience, so much of brown enough. No soy de aquí, no soy de allá. Not from here, not from there. We speak many tongues, embody many things.
I think I'm trying to make things that really matter to me. Like if the script really hits and I'm just like, oh yes, I feel that, or like that makes me really angry, or like I want to talk about that, then I feel like I'm on the right path, because if I feel so strongly about it, then maybe perhaps someone like me when I was younger will feel very strongly.
Okay, enjoy, and I will see you on the other side.
What's up? How
Not
are you?
much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Could you introduce yourself for people, please?
Yeah, my name is Andrea Londo, and I am an actress, and I'm also a producer now.
Yeah, I'm. Acting is great.
Yeah.
I'm an actor. I've done it. It's wonderful. I get to do it. I'm interested in the producing. Can you tell me the name of your production company?
Yes, it's called Two Lands, and
Which I love. This is kind of what started all this. Yeah.
And I co-founded it with my husband.
And is he of Two Lands, or is he the second land?
No. So we both grew up sort of like weirdly traveling a lot, like in between countries. Like his story is obviously different than mine. Two Lands for me is obviously like Mexico and the U.S. I grew up crossing the border. But he's not really, like, he's from Belgium, but he grew up everywhere. Like his dad is super eccentric, and just like they lived in so many countries. So the idea of making a production company that represents people that are kind of like from everywhere really resonated with both of us. So that's how we got to that name.
What is good content that you have seen that represents people from everywhere?
That's tough. That's a tough starter question.
Or is it a no and you're like, that's why I had to make it because it doesn't exist? Or
I think sometimes I audition for stuff where I'm like, oh, this is really good. But I don't always watch the shows, especially if I got close to something. It's like I don't always want to watch, you know what I mean? I don't want to like compare their choices to my own. But I auditioned for an Apple TV show that I got like close on, you know? But then they offered it to Ana de Armas. So like Ana de Armas got the part. But that was really well written because it was interesting. It was like a Mexican-American part. And I just like the nuances of like who this person is supposed to be and who they actually are. And it was kind of like a thriller. So like I do occasionally read things where I'm like, oh, this is really good. But I think, you know, reading something versus like actually seeing the product are also different things.
yes, very different.
Yeah, so sometimes you do read things that you're like, oh, this is awesome. But I don't always end up like watching the thing.
So two lands, which I love. I think, you know, I've sort of told you peripherally on socials that I think Brown Enough kind of embodies that, what we want to be talking about, like the idea that humans contain multitudes.
Yeah.
And I think we do a disservice to our society and the young people of our society if we tell them they have to be one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think Instagram has caused a lot of harm where you have like these curated little boxes that say who you are.
Yeah.
But you are so much more than a box. And it's, you make the bio on your, you know, like all of this idea that you have to become this character that you created.
Yes.
Is Two Lands maybe helping you reimagine your own little boxes that you've created and trapped yourself in?
Yes, definitely. I think I never felt or never realized that I was putting myself in a box, you know? I think also when I moved here to become an actor, I think I'd like...
What age?
19, 20, something like around there. I... Like when I was growing up, I would watch like Lizzie McGuire, and I thought that I could be Lizzie McGuire. You know what I mean? Like those are like the type of things that when you get here, people are like, "Oh, actually, no.
Yeah, you can't be. Lizzie
You're not Lizzie McGuire. You're like her best friend, or you're like, you know, whatever else is out there." And that was like a big cultural shock for me to like see how there were limitations. Like when auditions used to be in person, I would get really discouraged when I had like a callback and I was like super excited, lead of this show, and then I'd get there and I was the only brown person in the room, and there was like maybe an African American actress, and like you could see the diversity pics and everyone else looked the same. And it was really it was hard not
Which
to
they're doing it
feel-
now. We're just not in the room with
Yeah.
it, you know.
like when you get an audition and it's like any ethnicity and you're
Classic.
like, well,
Classic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Versus when you see like Latin and then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is I feel this opportunity is way more something that could happen.
Yes. We don't go in rooms anymore, but I had heard this story. I think it was the guy who played Rufio. Forgive me for not remembering his name. What's his name? From like Hook. He played Rufio.
No.
Well, that actor.
Okay.
I'll come back and pop his name in. He was talking about when he was in rooms. He was like, man, when you were auditioning for a part with like black dudes back in the day, he said it was the best because they would be like, they would pray together, and he'd be like, may the best person get this role, and like, may we all have exactly what we need. And I was like, that's beautiful.
Aw.
And I wish we still had it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't remember being in rooms and feeling that, because I think
Yeah.
there is a lack of abundance energy, I think, that's sort of pervading the world.
Yes.
I try not to invest in it. I actively practice to not invest in that energy.
Yeah.
But we are very sort of, and I think this of Latinos, we're very grabby of our spots.
Yes, and if
And
it's
our
happening for
opportunity.
you, then it means it's not happening for me.
Yeah.
That attitude is very pervasive, I think. But I think it's also like our way of looking at things, because for the first time in a long time, I was in a room, like late April. They flew me out to Vancouver to test for something, and it was 3 girls and 3 guys, and the vibes were great. Like
Cool.
we were all being like, there was no like silence, and it was all, everyone was being conversational, nice. Like you could feel the energy was really good the second that we got onto like our little bus and we got picked up from the hotel. And then afterwards we all had like a great time. So
Cool.
we were like, we were getting onto the plane together, and we were like, it's so nice because now whoever gets this part, it'll feel like, oh, it's a good person.
Cool.
So like it wasn't the same as what you're saying, but that was my first time experiencing something like that, where it was like, and I didn't get it, and I actually don't know if anyone that I auditioned with got it. It seemed like they did a bit of like a
Reshuffle,
reimagining of couples or something like that. But yeah, that was a really, really nice experience, because it doesn't always have to be. I think if something isn't meant for you, then it's just not. Like there's nothing you can do. You're already there. They already think you're a good actor, or that that it could work. So if it doesn't work, it's just not. I don't think it's personal, or it means that someone else is like better than you.
And you feel and believe that in your bones, if something's, because I know this line, if it's not meant, if it's not yours, or if it's not meant for you, like it's not going to be yours, or what's meant for you will be yours.
Yeah.
And you believe that in your being.
Yes, I mean sometimes it's hard. Like there's been a couple times where I've tested for something and I didn't get it, and I'm like, it's hard to accept that sometimes. Like it hurts, because you're like, I think at that point it's just like a bit of a preference, and then you're like, damn, I know I could have like really killed that, or that would have been amazing to get the opportunity to do that. So it takes me, sometimes I can't say that I'm immediately like, peace, it's all good. Sometimes I do have to sort of like, okay, let it go. It wasn't for you. Something else will pop up.
In my spirit lives this story from my friend Bea, and she, the year before, had booked this pilot. The pilot didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was testing for another pilot, and she didn't book it. But the casting called her to tell her she didn't book it.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that she could feel a joy in her heart knowing that she remembers how getting the phone call that she booked it felt, that someone else is receiving that joy.
Aww.
And that brought her a peace. And I was like, that's next level.
Yeah.
Generosity, thinking, reactivity.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's for everyone. It could be, should we want to practice in that way, but I will never, literally that story lives rent free in me, because I'll never forget it. Like
Mm-hmm.
there is a world where we can experience other people's joy.
Yeah.
And also not give in to the lack mindset. Like if it's not this one, it'll be the next one.
Yeah. I think also there's only so much that we can control. And like you hear that, but I think sometimes we have this like weird delusion that if we like try harder or like do that little extra thing or and it's like it's really not like that. Like even that experience that I'm telling you about, like I remember my audition, I was like, okay. Like I had no idea. That one really shocked me that they called me, like it was all so fast. So I think there's nothing that you can do that's gonna like make you manifest it. Like I don't know, I have so much issue with like the manifesting.
Tell me.
No, because I think I've gone down that road too, where I'm just like, I'm gonna manifest this thing. But then what happens is that if you don't, then it almost feels like something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
And I think that's not correct. So it's also like it's like a false sense of control, I think, sometimes.
I am like very in your van and cabin and house of manifesting. Like I have issues with the word. I have issues with the way we've commodified the word to mean like gaining things.
Yeah.
Gaining product.
Yeah.
I believe we can call things into our life. But yeah, it can be a little like, why are you just manifesting your job versus like, can you manifest a meal for a hungry person outside?
Right.
Like if you're that powerful, can you manifest helping these people who need help?
Yeah, and it's also like an ego thing, right? Because it's like, I'm good at manifesting and you're not good at manifesting.
Yes.
And I think sometimes like I've had periods in my life
people
where
sell you their manifesting toolkit.
Yes, totally. And for example, there's one program that I don't want to like talk bad about that I did do. And they have good intentions because basically, like what your friend said about being able to feel the happiness of someone else, that's so beautiful. But I think you have to do a lot of work to not, because the thing is when we get a no or like a really big rejection or like something, I think we can take that experience instantly and internalize it as something that means something about you. It means you're not good enough. It means you're not a good actor. It means no one's ever going to choose you. Like whatever that like thing, that pervasive thing is in your head, it can mean that. So it can be really difficult to feel happy for someone else when it can turn into this like weird, I say weird because it's not competitiveness. It's also not exactly jealousy. It's like this thing that you internalize and then the other person becomes like a representation of that thing that you just internalized.
You might not even have the language for how quickly you internalize.
Yeah.
No.
That's why it hurts so much, And I think like right now for me, I get so close on so many things. And then like what are you gonna post? Like, hey guys, another day where I got real close. Like it just doesn't work that way. So I think for me, I also want to stop like putting my life on hold. I used to very much plan around all things acting and no, I can't go on that trip because that's when there's a lot of auditions that month. And it's like, I don't care like that anymore because it's like, it'll work out, you can audition somewhere else. You can fly back. You can, whatever it is. I think
you gotta live your life.
You have to, and I think I'm getting more peace from that feeling now of like, I love this, I want this, but it can't be the only like driving force in your life. Which is also why I think sometimes those feelings are so negative, because we pedestal. We think like booking the job is gonna like fix all of our problems.
Yes,
it's not.
It will not. No, you're still you. Like you will still be you during shooting and after shooting.
Yeah.
Also in relation to yes, and because I have been there, am there, will return there. Do not wait to live. With manifesting, also, I think it's, if we're gonna stay in that same train, it can make you so single-minded. Like I have to manifest getting this thing, when I also believe it's like looking at the moon, looking at the sky through a straw and thinking you're seeing the whole thing.
Right.
You're only seeing what the straw is showing you. And so if you think you have to manifest this one thing, I think you're letting beautiful potential in life pass you by. because you're so fixed, you're so focused on this one thing.
Yeah. And I like what you said about the straw, because it's such a small way to view
Such a small
life.
way to view.
You know, it's so tiny. And I think it's funny that you say that, because I think the way that I look at my 20-year-old self was like blinders, like not a straw, but very much like block it out. No, this. And I worked and did a lot of things, but there's also a lot of moments where I'm like, I wish at that moment I would have just like taken life less seriously.
Oh,
you know,
more joy.
Yeah,
it's easier.
Yeah.
Like, it makes it all easier. Did you then, so you're having these realizations, you're like, I'm gonna go live my life,
right.
but then you're also like, I'm gonna produce things, I want to make things.
Yeah.
And so is that an act of rebellion of being like, I'm not waiting, or is that, what's the sort of driving force for that?
Here I go again. I got really close to something like in 2024, I think. And that one really hurt. I don't know why. I think because I'd been like manifesting and then it didn't go through. And that one took me a second to get over. And I think my husband was like, you don't need to wait around for these people to give you, these people, whoever that is, you know what I mean? Because that's also not a real thing.
Yeah.
It's just so funny. And I think he sort of was trying to help me out of like my slump. And then it became like a real conversation. And then we actually started raising money, and we started seeing like interest from people. And we were like, wait a sec. And it was such an empowering feeling to be able to be in control in a way, to be able to be like, I have a creative vision and it's this, and I don't have to like tiptoe around politically with like the right thing to say, or like call my manager and they're like, tell them this is not how you see the character, or like whatever, whatever kind of like language you need to use sometimes if in a fitting or whatever. So that was really, really, really nice. I think it's less, an act of rebellion and more like, I do really want to do this. I do really want to tell stories. And I think that's also like challenging, because then you really have to ask yourself, okay, for what? And what kind of stories?
Yeah. And what's your answer?
I think a lot of the times when people are asked like, why do you do this? I think a lot of times we kind of say, oh, I really want this to mean something to someone, right? Like, we hear that a lot. Like, I want this to matter. I want people to see this and feel something.
Yeah, there's a lot of rehearsed, proper answers.
Right. But if you really think about that, it's like, what does that even mean? Like, does that mean that you want to be seen? Does that mean that you want to matter? Does that mean that?
Yes.
Right,
always.
right.
Always.
But in terms of like art, like if we're going there, I think all of the movies that really impacted me growing up were super personal. For whatever reason, that movie just hit me as a 9-year-old or a 13-year-old or an 18-year-old. And I think
such as
this is hilarious, but like when I was I went through like a big phase where like I loved Mulan as a little girl.
Yeah, Mulan's a good one.
I loved Mulan.
It's not embarrassing.
No, but then I also went through a phase where like I really liked a movie called The Little Princess.
Okay.
And it's actually I think it's Alfonso Cuarón's first movie he directed in the US.
Cool.
Which now that I know that, I'm like, I had such good taste as I am, girl. But it was interesting because it was like a girl who sort of loses everything, and they sort of make her a maid. She's in like this school, her dad dies, and then they make her almost like part of the help. So it's like this huge thing, but she never loses this like very like whimsical thing where she like wants things and dreams of things, and then those things like start happening, and then of course her dad is alive, and of course like the teachers are evil, like it's like all the things. But as a little girl, I was obsessed with that movie. And then when I got older, but not old enough to be obsessed with that movie, I was obsessed with Closer.
Yeah.
Natalie Portman, Jude Law, yeah. Like I watched that movie way too much. It was so weird how much I watched it.
It's a good one.
Yeah, but those are all like personal movies, you know? And I really wanted this the movies that we produce to personally matter to me for some reason. And I think if whatever it is about that story matters enough to me and like my husband, who's also like a humongous part of all of this.
Is he an artist?
Yeah. I think he's different than me because he was surrounded by so many artists growing up that I think he was like, oh no, I'm the pragmatic one. And it took him a second to like embrace the fact that he's also artistic and creative. And I laugh because he was like, it took him a sec to like embrace that and sort of be like, okay, here I go, or like what are people gonna say about me now? Because he's always been like a business guy. But yeah, I think I'm trying to make things that really matter to me for whatever reason. Like if the script really hits and I'm just like, oh yes, I feel that, or like that makes me really angry, or like I want to talk about that, then I feel like I'm on the right path. Because if I feel so strongly about it, then maybe perhaps someone like me when I was younger will feel very strongly. But I don't know if that necessarily means that everyone will see it and think it's good. And you know what I mean? Like all the things that I think we sort of say just to say.
But are we making, there's like two thoughts here. Are we making art for everyone? I don't think we can make art for everyone.
Yeah. I was just like, I don't think
I'm working on this fiction book and I got this note. I didn't like the note. And I was talking to my wife about it. And she said, and I said, but what about, and I mentioned this other author, Maggie Nelson, in an old book of hers, Blew It, super inspiring. 12 people have read it. You know, Maggie Nelson is a bestseller with a book called Argonauts, but Blew It's no. And I was like, this is my book. This is the greatest book ever. And my wife said, be honest with yourself. Do you want to write a book for 100 people who really know literature? Mm-hmm. Or do you want to write a bestseller?
Right.
And that's what they're challenging you, the publisher. Like they're asking you this question without asking you this question. Yeah. And she was like, I think you would like to say you just want to write a good book, but I think you want to write a bestseller. Mm-hmm. And so who are we making it for? Why are we making it?
Yeah. I mean, that's a super valid point, because we definitely, took the script to some people. Some people's thoughts, we were like, no, but then other times we were also like, we don't want to make like an overly artsy movie for the sake of it just being like artsy. Like we wanted to make a movie that made sense to most people watching it, and like in that kind of like more, I mean, maybe it won't make sense to some people, or people don't understand the choices of the main character or whatever it is, but we did think about that. I think what I'm referring to more is like, I don't know how many people will care about the movie, or how many people to this day still remember like The Little Princess. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
I mean, I'm gonna watch it later now. It sounds great.
It's just such a funny, like, girly name that it makes me feel like of course when I was little I really liked The Little Princess, but yeah, I think it's more like what's true to me, like what things matter to me. Like we're producing another movie, like we're working on it, and it's a horror movie, but it basically takes a lot of like Latina specifically tropes and sort of starts flipping them on its head as the movie progresses. And like I really care about that, because that one perhaps is a little bit of an act of rebellion, because I'm just like, all of the things I've read where I'm like, ugh, where you're doing the self-tape and there's a part of you, like a tiny little part of you that dies because that's not authentic. That one is a little bit more rebellious in that way, I think.
I'm not putting this on you, but I'm curious to float it in the air. A couple of times you're like, and I got close, and then you said, and again, I got close.
Yeah,
I got so close. I wonder, and this is hard for me as well, and I really believe life is always trying to give us the medicine we need. Like life is steadily knocking. Like, if I need you to listen, not with these. I need you to see, not with these. Like I'm trying to give you what you're asking for.
Right.
We're always not so clear what we're asking for, but life knows. You know, it's a sort of nonverbal ask. We come in with a set of desires and questions and curiosities, and life says, I'm trying to give it to you, but you're not hearing me. You're not receiving. You're not, like, I'm trying to give you the thing. And so my invitation on this public platform is the getting close a thing that's being like something's trying to give you something?
I don't know. I mean, like, I hope so, you know, but I think at the end of the day, I don't always like understand the decisions or the choices, and I don't think it's like my job to always to like. So if there is some reason, if there is something that I'm not seeing, I guess I'm just like not seeing it yet, you know. But that one's tough because I definitely sometimes can think to myself like, why is it always like, why do I have so many versions of this? Yeah. And a part of me is like, no, that's really good. Like, getting close to something is a really good place to be. But eventually you don't want to just get close to something you like want to work.
And yes, trust me. Yes. And I think of patterns, and Alan Watts has this wonderful quote: a persistent problem is a proper question not yet asked. And I think we can change that from problem to like a persistent pattern is a proper question not yet asked. And if we ask the right question, on the opposite side is an answer.
Yeah.
And so what is the sort of question we're not asking? Because I have fallen into these patterns of like, man, I'm close, or this, or why do I always feel this way, or why do I always have to do this myself, or and I think when we see these patterns, these cycles, there's something that we can ask of ourselves that can break us out of the cycle.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely like homework for me to think about. I don't know. I really don't know. I did recently switch teams because there was a lot of things that, you know, like nothing dramatic, but sometimes you just think to yourself, I wonder if it's also, I think we also can underestimate how much that can matter as well. So I did that, which is always like a huge, like any change is kind of like a gamble. It's sort of like, well, I'm going to bet on this now. Yes. So I did do that because I do feel like at some point you have to switch something up.
Yeah, I mean, that to me is also part of that same conversation. Like, change some, you know.
Yeah.
Change is good. Yeah. We don't know what it's going to do, but like put energy in a different stake, see what happens.
And it's interesting because I went through a period where I didn't feel like I had that much motion. And then I was like, okay, I need to change my reader. Not because there was anything wrong with my reader, but because maybe that energy was like, you know, there's people that like I hear complain a lot and they're like, and I'm like, who do you read with? And it'll be like, my wife. And I'm like, only? And it'll be like, yes. And I'm like, that needs to change ASAP. Like, especially if you feel like stuck in some way. You need to, so I do change little things like that. And it's interesting because I started getting a lot of, oh, so close when I changed these things. So
do you gatekeep your reader, or do you want to share your reader?
I mean, I have like favorites on We Audition. Do you know We Audition?
No.
So We Audition was a site that like a friend of mine a million years ago told me about. And basically you go on there and there's available readers. And they're
at all times.
And some of them are free and some of them you pay. And it's like some people are like VIPs because they've read with so many people and they have so many good reviews.
How can it be free? What does that do for them?
Well, some people are free to then be able to charge. So like get enough reviews to be able to then charge.
Got it.
But it's not crazy. It's like some people charge $29 an hour, like $30 an hour, $15 an hour.
And
like,
it's Zoom.
And this is like a website where it's actively like a Zoom or something like that.
And so you have your favorites on there.
I have on there my favorites, and that's like just personal, you know? And then I'll message and I'll be like, hey, I got one. Are you free like tomorrow or the next day? And then based on who's available, I'll be like, oh, okay, let's do it. Or if it's like a scene with a girl, then maybe you go for like a female reader. Yeah. But I do that now. I think I don't love coaching.
Being coached?
Right. Yeah. for an audition. I think once you have a role and you want to like work on something with someone, I think that's different. And I'm not judging anyone that gets like coached or anything like that. But I think sometimes, again, for me, I've noticed a lot of good things when I just sort of trust my read.
First guess.
And then, and sometimes you find things as you're doing it. Like, I'm not like I did it once and I was done person, because I'd sometimes do it 3 times and then I'm like, wait, that moment actually. And then I do it again and I'm like, oh, that feels really good. So like I play with it.
Yeah.
I think when I do my tapes, I mean, sometimes you're done fast, but for the most part, I'm like figuring it out.
I think universally I think I can say this for maybe not everyone, because that's crazy, but I do think our first impulses as artists and as people, like I think people in the world, I think this is like if you meet someone and your first impulse is like, I like this person, but then we talk ourselves out of it. Right. I think a job, I think a room, you're like, I'm not supposed to be here right now. You're probably not supposed to be there. You know, I feel home here. There's probably a reason. Like, and we question our first impulses. I think we do this as artists, and I think we do this as humans. Like that first initial gut check.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's true. Unless you're in a situation where you feel really lost and you feel like really conflicted. But I think that's less like an audition and more like real life scenarios. But I think with an audition, or like you said, like with people, usually your first hunch is something to like register for sure.
With the production company, if humans are like, oh, make my thing, can they reach out, or are you like closed book, or what's the...
No, I think we're definitely open to reading things. It's the movie that we just produced is called Wild Card, and like we sort of came up with that and developed it with a writer and stuff. But the other 2 scripts were already scripts that we read and we were like, this is awesome. And then although the horror one we also developed, but the writer did so much of his own thing that it feels like, oh, this was so exciting to read.
Cool.
But I think yes, and also we're not like trying to have like a slate of like 10 movies waiting to happen, you know? So it would have to be something that like really resonates for us.
But people can send things maybe.
Yeah, people have sent me things already.
Cool.
Yeah. So, yes.
Open. As we start to wrap, any questions for me? Any big things you're thinking about? Anything that's like irking you or exciting you about life, about the world? Yeah.
I mean, tons of things irk me. What do you mean?
Yeah, go list them.
I mean, nothing. It's just it's funny because my first thoughts are like, oh, I miss in person, or I miss this, or, yeah. But you know, I think the state of the world and the industry is what it is. AI is scary. You know, that's like a big theme right now with like all the voting and all the things. So again, it's like sometimes it feels a little bit like the things that I'm thinking about, I'm not so sure how much we can control or do something about. Not to sound like super hopeless, but sometimes it's just like, oof, okay, I guess we'll see what develops and how we roll with it.
Well, I don't think understanding that we have lack of control is hopeless. It's close to pretty enlightened thinking. Like, you can't control anything. Just because the kettle boils every day doesn't mean it's going to boil tomorrow.
Right.
Like, a million things can happen.
That's true.
And so
that's so true. Your life could change tomorrow.
Tomorrow when you walk outside, you know, like in the next 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's hopeless to give up a control. It's pretty brave.
Right.
It's pretty courageous.
It's hard.
It's pretty hard to say, like, I don't have control.
Mm-hmm.
What I can attempt to control is my response to things.
Yeah.
The joy I experience, the way I love these people or this moment, or this process. Yeah, so I don't receive that as hopeless, you know, personally.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's really fair, you know, like what you're saying in terms of like it's not always hopeless. But yeah, I think you can control what you can control, and I think sometimes it's also about not waiting. Like I see a lot of people nowadays, like they're doing their short, they're writing this thing, they're doing that, and I think that's great. I think you can't place like too much expectation on where that thing is going to take you, because I think sometimes the growth is in the thing and in the doing it and in the realizing that you can do it. So I think that's sort of what I bring myself back to when I'm just like, okay, well, here we are.
I mean, I'm a huge advocate of Nike philosophy. I don't own that trademark. Just do it.
Yeah.
People spend their whole lives not beginning.
Yeah, we wait too much.
Yeah.
For permission, and I think in the Latin community even more. Like I think it's just like a learned thing of like, unless we feel like there's room for us, it's like it's a little bit of that sort of like thing of like don't cause trouble mentality, I think, a little bit, that we all grow up with, right? So that's also something from like, I think, at least for me, from like a more conservative standpoint, like from a culture. But I think following like hunches and what you really want, or like intuition, I don't think that's creating a problem. I actually think it's the opposite. And I think the more that we do that, the more we're gonna see an industry that like reflects us the way we want it to.
And having a deep relationship with your intuition or your gut, or whatever that word serves you as a person listening, is gonna put you in places you want to be in.
Yeah.
And it's gonna make you leave the places you don't want to be in. Like it'll emphasize that it's time to not wait, or it is time to wait,
right?
Or it is this deep relationship with your gut, or intuition, spirit.
And those are little tiny things, you know, like tiny things. Like the other day I was like, I really want to learn how to scuba dive. Like I want to get certified.
You just woke up and you were like, I got to scuba?
Yeah. I was like, I really want to do that. I don't know why.
And you're doing that now?
Yeah. I called. I'm like organizing it. I want to just get certified. I want to do it.
Okay. So like you wake up on a Monday, you have to scuba. When do you make the phone call?
Well, I actually woke up on like a Sunday thinking that.
So Sunday you have to scuba. When do you make the phone call?
Then I looked at a bunch of stuff up.
On Sunday?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think I called like on Tuesday. I think on Monday I sort of like,
do I really want to scuba?
Like, am I going crazy?
Yeah.
Is this it? But I think sometimes those tiny little hunches, like you never know why you have them, but just do it, you know?
Yeah, that I like, because I think my mentor says, Yusef Kumunyaka, like your only job as a person is to remain open to this, like what calls to you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't receive it, it'll go somewhere else. And so
right.
You receive the scuba. I don't know where the scuba is going to go, but I'm grateful that you caught the spirit.
Who says that to you?
Yusef Kumunyaka. He won a Pulitzer Prize in '99 for a set of poems called Neon Vernacular.
Okay.
Which is a great collection of poetry, if that's your jam. And Yusef is a genius. Yes.
That's incredible. I another like a quick thing that like my therapist told me once that lives rent free in my head as well is this notion of like being lucky, because I think a little bit what you're saying sounds like that to me. I think if you feel like you're exactly where you're supposed to be, that kind of translates into being like a lucky person, because you're open to everything that comes, versus this kind of like resistance or holding on to the past or like a regret. Like it keeps you not seeing like these opportunities that can come to you, because you're so stuck in a certain feeling that's you can do nothing about. And I think as humans, that's definitely something that I think that's the key, like being in acceptance of all the almost that didn't go your way and all that, and just being like, okay, I don't know why, but okay. Like, and like, I think the more that you can get to that place, I think not necessarily like better things will come, but I think the easier that it'll be to sort of like navigate your own journey, at least.
I'm reading a book. We'll end here. There's a line in the book, and it says, there are 3 types of people in this world. People who refuse to see beauty even when it smacks them in the face. People who only see beauty when it smacks them in the face. People who see beauty always, and especially when it smacks them in the face. And I like that.
That's beautiful.
So, thank you.
No, thank you for having me.
That's our time. I hope you loved it. I know I did. And I will see you next week. It's really nice to be back for season 4. Much love. Peace.